Hi guys, this is gsnom.com and I'm here with a review of the Oppo Find X2. It's not the Find X2 Pro, which is the flagship, but rather it's a second tier version. However, it has quite a few specs which are similar. It's one of those cases when a non-Pro phone has 12 gigs of RAM and 5G connectivity. Also a pretty nifty CPU. Okay, so the price tag is rather hefty at $1,050, but you're getting some of the best components out there. The Snapdragon 865, 12 gigs of RAM and a very fast charging, plus a 120 Hz screen, which you're going to see in a minute. So let's talk about the design first. Obviously, the phone is made of glass and metal, and you can see the glass curving on the sides all the way to the metal frame, which measures 8 mm in thickness. It's not slippery, it has a glass back which is curved at the exact same angle as the front side. It weighs 192 grams and it's rather a long phone, which may interfere with its comfy use with a single hand, unless you have huge hands. Definitely a premium build and definitely something special here. Even though it's a hybrid of more than one phone's identity, it feels like a combo of the Galaxy S10 Plus, Huawei P30 Pro looking at the back camera, and slides bits and pieces of the OnePlus 7 Pro generations. Anyways, it's a looker and that's about it. On the display front, we're already getting to the hardcore specs. So this panel here is an AMOLED 6.7 inch diagonal with very curved sides and a resolution of 3168 over 1440 pixels. And unlike the Galaxy S20 series, this device provides you with, let's see, Quad HD Plus resolution, and at the same time it can trigger the 120 Hz refresh rate, which, as you can see, totally helps when you're navigating lists, making everything very fluid. Okay, so there are many specs for the screen. I'm going to list them in the text review. Keep in mind they've got HDR10+, 1 billion pixels and other cool things. Now I'm here for a demo, and the demo involves a video. Okay, and that's the clip we usually play. We go here, we got your Quad HD, 60 frames per second and HDR, enjoying on the curved side panel. Now, as you can see, the punch hole selfie camera doesn't bother me very much. The experience is immersive, even though the curved corners may distract you a bit from the experience, and that happens especially in the games. Very vivid colors, very white colors, excellent brightness, perfect contrast even in the full sunlight, and overall one of the best screens I've seen lately. Having said that, I've already played the Galaxy S20 Ultra and I'm still blown away by the results getting here. We have a pentile matrix pixel arrangement, and when it comes to the brightness, things got totally crazy and huge. We achieved 872 lux units, and this is one of the most impressive results I've seen on a phone ever. 872 lux units. It beats all the other phones we tested recently. The Huawei P40 Pro sits at 689 lux and the Galaxy S20 Ultra 406 lux. So this basically doubles the S20 Ultra brightness. It's crazy, it's so good. Okay, we move further and we find here a familiar face. One of the most powerful CPUs around is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, accompanied by 12 gigs of RAM and 256 GB of UFS 3.0 storage. There's no lag whatsoever. It's got one of the most fluid functionings out there. The device also aided by the fluidity thanks to the high refresh rate. It can run any game, and I have good news for you. There's no trace of overheating here, no matter what your actions will be. Speaking of actions, we also did a bit of benchmarking. Let's see what came out of that experience. I'm going to focus on Antutu 8, where guess what? We're on the first spot yet again. You can see here 540k points. We actually achieved 570k points, but there was a bit of cheating going on, or at least that's what I felt. So this was one of the first results. We also tried out the older Antutu, then we tried out the newer one. I have a ton of benchmarks performed on this device. Okay, so this is the score I mentioned before, 540k. And we also have the previous one, which was simply mind-blowing. This is it. This one is with the performance mode activated. The benchmark kept stressing me with the notification here at the top side. performance mode has been activated. Then I turned it off. Then again, performance mode has been activated. Then I turned it off, and again and again and again. Kept pushing that performance mode and achieved this one. So basically, with it deactivated, it's still pretty impressive at 540k points. Other benchmarks also impressive in Antutu 7 were placed on the first spot. In the graphical benchmark, 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme, once again on the first spot. We're even beating a gaming phone, the Asus ROG Phone 2, by 1000 points, and this pretty much speaks for itself. And with all of that said, there's zero overheating going on here. Pretty impressive. Okay, now battery-wise, at first sight you'd be tempted to say that we're dealing with 4200 mAh battery. It's actually split into two units, to 2100 mAh units. It's got Super VOOC 2.0 65 watt charging, and let's see how the battery performed in our tests. Okay, so we go here, tests, and battery and video playback is 15 hours and 42 minutes. I would say it's a pretty fine result. It beats the Galaxy S20 Ultra and the Nubia Red Magic 3S, and at the same time stays below the Huawei P40 Pro and a few other devices. For example, let's see who beat us. For example, the iPhone 11 Pro Max beat us, and I see the Asus Zenfone 6 also beat us, but still a pretty good result. The test was done with the phone at 60 Hz refresh rate and Quad HD Plus resolution. When it comes to continuous usage, there's PC Mark, and we got 11 hours and 50 minutes. A rather solid result, beating the OnePlus 7 Pro, Galaxy S20 Ultra, but scoring below the Huawei P40 Pro, but not by very much, and also below the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. You can see here how we fared in the general top with multiple other phones here. So all in all, pretty impressive, but nothing is as impressive as the results we achieved in charging. 5 minutes equals, let's see, let's go back a bit. Okay, so 5 minutes equals 16% charging, 15 minutes, 56% charging, 30 minutes equals 97% charging, and for a full charge, 32 minutes. Even though on paper, Oppo promised 38 minutes. So they even beat their own estimation. Just 32 minutes for a full charge blew me away. And there's also a nifty animation here. So here on this beautiful lock screen, you're going to see the percentage constantly changing, something like 96, 97, 98% as the phone juices up. And that's totally amazing. It deserves a 10 out of 10 for this charging. Now let's go to the acoustics. Okay, so unlike the Huawei P40 Pro, here we have stereo speakers, dual ones. So there's one at the bottom and there's one at the top here, very well hidden. It's actually the earpiece. So Oppo praises the 0.65 cubic centimeter chamber for the main speaker, and that's got to count for something. Let's see the actual experience. Let's listen to it. Okay, so you just heard that the top speaker will take care of the high notes, the bottom speaker will take care of the bass and the lower notes. There's a lot of vibration throughout the phone's body, but there's also something else, a quality experience. It's very loud, satisfying bass, good high notes, warm voices in the movies, so I'm pretty happy with the results achieved here. Once again, we got our tests. The power of the volume was measured with a special decibel meter tool, and at the bottom we achieved 91 decibels with our typical acoustic sample, and at the top a record level of 91.9 decibels. So basically we beat the Galaxy S20 Ultra again and the OnePlus 7 Pro. We stayed below the Xperia 5 at the bottom and below the Huawei P40 Pro, once again with the bottom speaker, not the top one, which simply cannot be beaten. Now let's see something else here. When it comes to the multimedia test, which is the one involving games, we achieved 98.7 decibels, which means we're doing fine, but we're not in the 100 decibel territory, which is usual material for records, and it's reserved for the gaming and music phones. Okay, so satisfying speakers, and now we're off to the cameras. At the front side, there's a 32 megapixel shooter right here in the punch hole. It's rather tiny, and it's got a 5p lens and AI beauty. It only shoots Full HD video, not 4K like other flagships out there. At the back side, this camera looks quite a bit like the Huawei P30 Pro one and also maybe the Mi Note 10 one, but with only 3 sensors. We got a dual LED dual tone flash, we got a hybrid zoom which is 5x for the 13 megapixel telephoto camera. There's also a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera and the 48 megapixel shooter, which is the main camera, and it's got a Sony IMX586 sensor. The phone has ultra steady stabilization. You've seen the interface in the unboxing with its comfy way of zooming in. We got a semicircle and we're pulling it from the side, not with the whole slider thing on the Huawei phone. Now, as you can tell, I've taken quite a few photos with this device, including nighttime snaps. So let's have at it. Okay, so it was a very sunny day, pretty bright. And when it comes to the colors, at first sight, you would say they're pretty well calibrated and vivid. Now, check out the regular shot and the ultra wide shot, which doesn't deform the colors in any way, doesn't distort image, or it doesn't create aberration or softer sides. One thing that I did notice is a tendency to over-process the image's colors and make them appear more vivid than in real life. This blue is much bluer than in real life, and the grass is definitely greener in the photos compared to real life. Now we're testing the zoom with the bear's head with pretty satisfying results. I would say they're comparable to the Huawei P30 from last year and also the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, throughout this review and this testing, the OnePlus 7 Pro was a landmark because the quality is pretty much on par. The bokeh is excellent with the separation of Donald Duck's head from the background, and we have several more colors here tested. Once again, they may look excellent to you, but if you really know the scenery, you'll see that they've been changed a little bit to look better, a bit more over-processed. Once again, regular shot and ultra-wide shot, and guess what? The ultra-wide camera can also be used to take macros from 3 centimeters close, like this one or this one, and they're actually excellent, better than some macro cameras I've seen out there. Okay, so we should get into selfie territory, and believe it or not, I'm not very impressed. I mean, some of them are cool and all, with the details on the face and the eyes and the texture, but some of them are blurry and messy and somehow missed. Usually when you're a flagship or close to a flagship, you shouldn't miss a shot and create blurry shots. That's one of my opinions. Okay, so it's actually a series of selfies, and this is a better lit scenery, the pretty nice texture of the hair. I'm not saying you can take bad selfies, only that they may be moved, and the blur appears to be less convincing than the Samsung or Huawei one. The bokeh is applied well, however, I don't feel the intensity of the blur, and I don't feel the same level of, I don't know, special effects. Okay, so this is the daytime camera. We have a bunch of other photos here of flowers, some of them truly impressive, and even more here. We played with the focus, we played with the perspective. When it comes to close-ups, this is a bit of a beast, and that's one of the weak points of the Huawei P40 Pro, where this one actually wins. So overall, it fits somewhere in between the OnePlus 7 Pro and Galaxy S20. That's exactly where it fits. These are daytime photos. Let's go to the nighttime photos. Sadly, between the daytime and the nighttime, the pandemic began, so we had to be fast, take photos around the building, around the block where we live, so not many of them. However, let's have a look. So first things first, if you're shooting ultra wide, you'll see that things are a bit softer and the streetlight halos are bigger. This is the flash, which is pretty powerful. Okay. Several more shots here with or without the flash. If you want to take selfies, you should only take them with the screen being used as a flash, otherwise they're rather soft and a bit yellow. And let's see what else we have here. Now if you apply the night mode, you'll be reasonably happy with the results. Things will get lit up, but in general the shots were rather dark compared to my expectations. This is a night mode shot. It doesn't have the same crayon effect that I found on the Huawei P40 Pro, and if you look closely you can see the water droplets, because aside from the pandemic there's also the argument that it was raining. Definitely not top 5 material when it comes to the low light shooting, but also not one of the worst cameras out there. I would say it's comparable with maybe the Xperia 5 and somewhere between the Galaxy S10 series and the S20 series. It fits in there. These have been the photos. Let's talk about the videos. We have the MX Player Pro and we have 12 videos to glance at. Now the thing I want to show you the most, I'm going to start with the focus. Okay, so this is the focus test. let's put it in a proper crop. So close up and far, very fast, actually faster than the Huawei P40 Pro, Samsung level. Another strong suit of the phone, it's got to be the stabilization test. It's here. We activated the ultra steady and it's actually pretty impressive. On these exact same stairs, I've tested plenty of Sony Xperia phones which have blown my mind, but this one actually takes it to a new level. Okay, so solid stabilization so far, and let's see how we're doing with a bit more color. Okay, so if you're shooting in 4K, things will be more shaky, obviously. The sky is a bit white, but the exposure checks out when you point the phone at it. The colors are a bit too vivid, like it happened for the photos, and the focus is rather okay. There's plenty of detail, and towards the end, I was actually surprised by the zoom. Pleasant surprise. And the way it zooms is very calculated and composed. It's not fast, maybe on account of the semicircle. I'm not impressed by the selfie shooting. It may look okay on the screen, but on my computer screen is less than impressive. Once again, comparable to the OnePlus 7 Pro and very close to the Galaxy S20, if not pretty similar. Almost forgot to show you, we also have low light samples, not very convincing. We were on the go, it was raining and it was pandemic time. However, I'll say this. The stabilization during the nighttime is better than the Huawei P40 Pro. I know the image is darker, but the stabilization is better. Let's see the other video, and is this one here. Sadly, it's quite dark. The phone doesn't handle itself very well in the darkness, the low light scenery when it comes to filming. So this is not flagship behavior when it comes to low light video shooting. But the stabilization remains one of its strong suits. It can fight easily any Samsung, Huawei phone or the Xperia 5, which was a bit of a beast when it came to stabilization during the night. Now let's see the connectivity. Okay, so as we're getting into the connectivity, I think it's time to access our website, gsml.com, just so you know what you're watching here. Okay, so on the connectivity front, at the bottom you can find the USB-C port. Next to it there's a microphone and the SIM card slot. At the top side you find another microphone, and here there should be another microphone from what I know. There's 4G connectivity here, there's 5G as well, Wi-Fi dual band, and also Wi-Fi 6. There's NFC and 2x2 MIMO for the Wi-Fi. USB-C is 3.1, there's Bluetooth 5.1, there's dual band GPS, and the calls from this earpiece here were rather loud. Okay, so in the short amount of time I was able to test the phone, and also being stuck at home with the whole COVID thing, I did a bunch of tests, and that's how the Wi-Fi played out. Around 99.9 megapsecond Wi-Fi downloads, 78.7 megapsecond uploads, or even 89. So that's about it speed-wise. Now, when it comes to the software, this is definitely Android 10 with something called ColorOS 7.1 on top. And one thing looked familiar. It's the brightness bar, which seems to be borrowed from MIUI from Xiaomi, at least for me. So we got a very clear area here at the top side, the drop-down area for the quick settings and notifications. Everything is clear and I would say not very different from stock, and pretty close to being a combo of Oxygen OS and MIUI. We got the Smart Assistant here, basically a collection of shortcuts and widgets, and multitasking is done like this. And of course, there's also the option for split screen for the apps that support it. Split screen like this, and then choose another app and have at it. Well, not this one because it doesn't support it. Anyway, you get the gist of it. So Chrome, split screen, and then choose something like music. And that's split screen for you. Pinch the screen like this, and you got your widgets, wallpapers, effects, and settings. You can actually do a lot of customization to the icons. You can use an app drawer or not. You can do the icon autofill, you can change the layout, and by the way, it's one of the few Chinese phones which actually uses, well, jinxed it, which actually uses the app drawer, which we should have available here. Have the drawer mode, standard mode, all the simple mode, provided you apply. So keep in mind, never keep your fingers on the curved side of the screen or it will be sensed like a touch. Now I can show you the drawer, the app drawer properly. Okay, now there's a bar here. You can pull it like this. It shows useful stuff like screenshot, record screen. It's useful to pop up during the games. It's also useful to trigger a floating window of one of the apps you're going to be using the the most. You can have it as a button, you can enlarge it like this, and that's what the experience is like with that smart bar to aid you. Other than that, it's your typical Android affair. And when it comes to the security, you got a pretty fast fingerprint scanner embedded in the screen. One annoying thing is that sometimes it forgets to pop up and you have to swipe up from your pin in order to activate it. But I'm very happy with the speed and also the accuracy of that sensor. Okay, I think we've covered basically everything. I'm going to go to the settings a bit. Connectivity, notification, fingerprint, smart services and convenience tool. There's smart driving and smart assistance. Convenience tool, navigation buttons. You can replace them obviously with swipes. Digital well-being, app cloner, and something called game space, which has a pretty cool animation. If you're a gamer, you're going to be enjoying it. It starts like this. It shows you the battery, signal strength, and lets or doesn't let messages go through. Okay, so the animation apparently only appeared the first time you ran it, sadly. Okay, other than that, well, I think that's about it. The collection of apps is pretty straightforward. Some of them are stock. You got your Facebook, you got your file manager, you got your Duo, your game space, messages, music, you got the Office suite, you got Opera for some reason, and even Oppo Relax to find your inner peace. Okay, and aside from that, they're also talking a lot about the Soul Loop app, which frankly feels a bit slow when you're working with multiple samples. So you can gather your collection of shots, photos and videos and create something like a collage. You can import them, you have them here. You're going to apply filters, trim them, pull subtitles, music, and so forth. And that's about it. We have reached the end of the review of the Oppo Find X2. Now, it's pricey at $1,050 for sure. However, you're getting the best screen we have ever tested with close to 900 lux units. I'm going to say it again, almost 900 lux units. Also a pretty good set of speakers, stereo speakers, nice performance coming from the battery. And to be honest, the battery is a 10 out of 10 on account of the crazy fast charging in just 32 minutes. So good performance, best charging, best screen, solid benchmarks, powerful stereo speakers, no overheating, pretty okay operating system, a solid camera during the daytime, and one of the best stabilizations around. Plus you also have 5G connectivity. On the con side, the colors of the pictures we've taken with this phone are a bit too vivid and some of the shots feel a bit over processed. To that we add the certification for the waterproofing, only IP54. We only got full HD selfie videos, there's no micro SD, there's no wireless charging. Selfies could be better overall, and we need more camera modes and options, to be honest. And the low light photos and videos should be a tad brighter, and the curves of the screen are a bit distracting in games. In the end, this remains a record holder for the fastest charging around, for the brightest screen around, and for the highest performance CPU around. It totally feels like a gaming phone to me. If you add the 120Hz thing in the middle, it's the only phone on the market with a Quad HD resolution, 120Hz, powerful CPU, fastest charging, and brightest screen. Now the camera, I would say it's comparable to a hybrid between Galaxy S20 and OnePlus 7 Pro. That's about it from us. I hope this review helped you in deciding to buy or to skip the Oppo Find X2. Bye bye.